Welcome to Conversations. I'm Muqtadar Khan, your host, and today I want to talk to you about a warning that President Trump has issued to Iran. It says 48 hours before hell will rain down. Trump reminds Iran of the Hormuz deadline. He also, this is how the media is trending, but this is what Donald Trump really posted on his social media, on his social truth social. He says, remember when I gave Iran 10 days to make a deal or open up the Hormuz Strait? Time is running out 48 hours before all hell will rain down on them. Glory be to God, President Donald J. Trump. So, first of all, he's now invoking God. Increasingly, we find that there is a lot of invocation of God and prayers. Apparently, there are photographs floating around of President Trump and not President Trump, Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, hosting events inside the Department of Defense, monthly Bible reading and prayers, etc., congregational prayers. So everybody in the military, his speeches are also invoking Jesus, etc. So there's a lot of religious imagery to such an extent that I just wonder when they will start calling it a holy war. So that's another issue. But what is also fascinating and interesting to me is that Donald Trump seems to be completely out of touch with what is really going on. So, for example, right now the crisis is that the Iranians, who in response to Trump's speech that we have completely destroyed Iran's military capabilities, we have destroyed its air force, navy, blah blah blah, they immediately proceeded to first bombard Israel with tons and tons of missiles, but then went on to shoot down an F 15 with two pilots, a pilot and an arms person. Uh, the Americans military has very brilliantly rescued the pilot, but one more American serviceman is still missing and is in Iran. Donald Trump hasn't tweeted about that person's safety. He could have threatened Iran, saying, don't harm the servicemen or hell will break loose. So I'm quite surprised at his unwillingness to even acknowledge that one US serviceman is at the moment missing. And I've been listening to some military analysis, and they are saying that they would have ejected within 1 second of each other, or maximum 2 seconds, and so they should have both landed in the same area. So while they could find one and not the other is very troubling. Is that person dead, or is that person been captured by some militias or private individuals? Are some people helping him escape? Why hasn't he got in touch? What has happened to his communication equipment that he would have jumped out with? Or have the Iranians captured him? So there are a lot of troubling questions about that serviceman who hasn't yet been found. Trump has nothing to say about that, but he's now threatening Iran with all hell. But the irony is that this assumption that we can bomb Iran whenever we like, wherever we like, that has suddenly been shattered. And so not only did Iran shoot on an F 15, but they uh, damaged two helicopters that were going on the rescue. Luckily for the pilots, they did not crash in Iranian territory. And then on a separate thing, on the same day, they shot another army plane. Is called an A-10. It's a different kind of a. It's not like a fighter jet, but it's a combat aircraft. So they kind of damaged two helicopters and shot down two jets, two fighter combat aircraft of the United States, just hours after Donald Trump threatened and bragged that we had destroyed Iran's complete air defense systems. Apparently, they have some new air defense system using infrared that is able to detect. Well, one thing is not to read too much into it, because F-15 is not a stealth fighter, so it is visible to radar and other traditional defense systems. So if the United States were to go back and attack with only F-35s, which US and Israel both have, then perhaps they will be able to avoid the new air defense system that Iran has procured. But there's something more that is going on here. And what is interesting is And that's the point of today's discussion, that Donald Trump is not listening to either his military or his intelligence. Donald Trump is not listening either to his military or to his intelligence community. Yesterday, Pete Hegseth fired three generals because they refuse to send troops on the ground, saying this is dangerous, this will take a long time, and obviously they don't agree with the goals. They do not see an imminent threat to the United States coming from Iran, and they see that, say what Joe Kent said, that this is a war for Israel and not for the United States. So military generals, senior generals who've been in combat for 30 plus years are telling this administration that we should not send troops on the ground. And what do? They fire them. But there's also an interesting report that has come out in the New York Times, which says that, let me see if I can find it for you. It is here. Yes, this is in the New York Times. So what this, let's see if I can get the front page. No, I don't have it here. Yes, Iran is quickly repairing missile bunkers, US intelligence says. So US intelligence is reporting. They're leaking this to the New York Times is because the Trump administration is not listening to them. So the US, they are saying that two things have happened. Two things are wrong. Number one, that the Iranians are repairing whatever damage that they are causing. So if they destroyed bunkers, they're going and fixing it. If there's rubble, they are digging it out. They're bringing new missiles out. They're also using dummy launchers. So the United States thinks that, okay, we destroyed 10 launchers today, but not all 10 of them are real. Some of them are just dummies. There was this rumor that during the first Gulf War, Saddam Hussein had made cardboard Scud missiles and he was transporting them on the truck. So they were just cardboard cutouts, and the US was seeing them as Scud missiles and was shooting at them tomahawks to destroy them. So it's possible that this is what the intelligence is saying, that they are using dummies launchers and the US is attacking them, and they're counting them as saying, okay, according to the estimate, Iran has so many launchers and we have destroyed so many and they have only so many left. But the intelligence is saying we are not able to estimate accurately because we don't know which ones are dummies and which ones are real, which means that Iran has far more launchers available than the US is estimating. I just want to read this paragraph to you. The Pentagon and the White House this week claimed to have made substantial progress against Iran. At a briefing this week, Pentagon said it has struck 11,000 targets in Iran in 5 weeks. But American intelligence agencies have cast doubt on how close the United States is to destroying Iran's missile capability, a key goal in the war. While US intelligence agencies have not estimated the number of remaining launchers with high confidence, Iran retains the ability to use its remaining arsenal of ballistic missiles and missile launchers to attack Israel and other countries in the region, according to American officials briefed on the intelligence. So the American intelligence is telling them, look, you're wrong, you're underestimating Iran's capabilities. They have more missiles than you think, they have more launchers than you think. But the logic of the administration is, look, they were shooting so many missiles in the first few days, now they are just shooting very few, 20, 30, 40 missiles a day and a few hundred drones. So it's very clear that they have lost their capacity and the volume because we have destroyed them. That is the assumption that the administration is making. But the intelligence is saying no, they are hiding them and they are preserving them because once the war is over, they will still want to keep the Strait of Hormuz closed. So just because the US and Israel leave, it doesn't mean that the Qataris and the Bahrainis are now free to use the Strait of Hormuz, because Iran would have saved a lot of missiles and drones, which it will unleash on potential ships which will be trying to leave the Strait of Hormuz without Iran's approval or without paying the toll that they plan to impose. So we have this bizarre situation where the president is completely out of touch with reality. He's threatening Iran. And there seems to be a segment in the American press here which is keen to let this war continue. And so there are reports, like in the Wall Street Journal and others, saying that Iran is not negotiating in good honor, etc. And to kind of negate that, the Iranian Abbas Araghchi, the Iranian foreign minister, actually tweeted this about 7, 8 hours ago. He says, Iran's position is being misrepresented by US media. We are deeply grateful to Pakistan for its efforts and have never refused to go to Islamabad. So there's this rumor that was going on. In fact, even Professor Wali Nasr, I quoted him in my show last night. He made this statement that the Iranians were afraid to go to Pakistan because they thought that we can't trust the Americans, we can't trust the Israelis. If Abbas Araghchi goes to Islamabad, they will be killed there, which means that Pakistan is sort of colluding with Israel and Iran and not able to provide them security or whatever it is. The Iranians were not sure, so they're not coming. But Abbas, I guess, Sayyid Abbas Araghchi, the Iranian foreign minister, especially tweeted out saying that's wrong. That's misrepresentation. We are deeply grateful to Pakistan for its efforts and have never refused to go to Islamabad. What we care about are the terms of a conclusive and lasting end to the illegal war that is imposed on us. So this is very interesting. And then he ends by saying Pakistan Zindabad. So he's written this in Persian, but it's like reading Urdu. But what is interesting is that when this discussion was going on and Pakistan was moderating, and there was this clear proposal that there will be a meeting in Islamabad where they will have this meeting, J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio will go. The Iranians had expressed complete lack of confidence in Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. So we are sending the big team. So the A team was supposed to go, but the Americans were saying that our A team will go to Pakistan to negotiate only if the Iranians accept a draft conclusion. So we will draft a proposal saying this will be the final outcome of the dialogue. And if the Iranians agree with it, then we will go. So the point of going there would have been just for a photo op, or maybe let's say that America proposes 10 points and the Iranians agree on 8 and they want to modify 1 or 2, then yes, they could discuss that. But the Iranians are now imposing the same condition on the US, saying, no, we have certain conditions and we want assurances that war is going to be at the end of the war and there will be no more attacks on Iran in the near future or in the future. So they are saying no more wars on Iran. And somehow the United States will have to convince Iran of that. Only then will they come for the dialogue. I mean, they're saying that we will not even come to the dialogue unless we are assured. It's not about Pakistan. It's about the credibility of the United States to live up to its promises. And that's the point that he's making in that tweet. And that's quite fascinating because it shows a tremendous degree of self-confidence. That is the question that he's asking, is that America needs to establish its credibility, which it has lost. America has lost its credibility in the Middle East. The Arabs are clear that America cannot and will not protect them. It's only obsessed with Israel, and the only thing that matters for America is Israel. It's completely sacrificed the Gulf to advance Israel's hegemonic interests in the Middle East. If the Arabs don't get it, then believe me, they are stupider than the current administration in the United States. I understand that they are helpless, but you can't be helpless and stupid at the same time. And the second thing is that even NATO allies have no trust in the United States anymore. So the US is losing trust. Majority of Americans now don't trust Donald Trump and his administration. His approval ratings are very low. Even MAGA crowd are upset because he's completely betrayed them. He promised no wars. He promised to release the Epstein files on day one. And he has done neither. He has proven to be untrustworthy. And so I don't blame the Iranians for saying we don't trust you at all. I mean, he promised Americans there will be no wars of regime change, etc., etc., etc. And now suddenly we have a never-ending war, and he wants $200 billion now. That means how he's spending $1 billion a day. So if he's going to fight he wants $200 billion, is he going to fight for 200 days more or at least a year? And then on top of that, Trump is asking for $400 billion extra in the next defense budget. He wants the US budget, which is around $980 billion now, to go to $1.5 trillion. So he's going to raise the budget by close to $500 billion. He's asking for about $1.4 trillion as defense budget. So he's raising the budget by $400 billion, which is more than the budget of probably the top, the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth countries. The Chinese spend only 240 to $50 billion. Add the 50 billion that Russia spends, that's 375. That India spends, that's 375, and then Saudi spends 75. That's $450 billion. Why does he want so much money? Is he going on a warmongering year for the whole year of 2027? So the messaging that is coming out of this White House is perplexing and confusing for everybody. This is also not consistent with the national security strategy that the administration published, the national defense strategy that the Department of War published. So we are in a state of chaos and limbo, and I hope that some sanity prevails, and I hope something comes out of the dialogue. But at the moment, we are in a very funny situation. Donald Trump says, "I'm going to let hell loose on Iran." Well, Iran is waiting. They seem to have acquired new weapons, and they seem to have new ways of shooting down American aircrafts. So it's the war is there's a turning point in the war. And I'm sad to report that instead of seeing the likelihood of peace, we are seeing the likelihood of more war than peace going forward. So thank you for watching Khanversations. I am your host, Muqtadar Khan. Now I will take some questions if there are any. And so please also, if possible, subscribe to the channel, like this video, try to become a member. There have been several new members. I will be traveling very soon. So after my travel ends, I will have the Zoom conference that I have with members, especially with new members now, that I would like to get to know them so we can talk to each other face to face. So Varach, we'll see with Mr. Varach. Sir, I had a question. Can I ask? Please make my doubt clear, sir. All right, go ahead. What's your question? You should have typed your question. I would just answered it right away. India's interest. I'm sorry. It took me a little while. I made the thumbnails and forgot to upload them. And when I upload the thumbnail, that's when I put the time of the show. So sorry for confusing you about when the show was going to start. Trump doesn't drink, by the way. So he does not consume alcohol. In fact, in the Republican primaries, Mitt Romney and Trump were the leading candidates, and both were non-alcohol consuming people. Shahbaz says, Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum salam. Dr. Khan, you have another religious fanatic like Indian Defense Minister Raja saying inflammatory statements. Are these more not learning anything from these wars? Unfortunately, what has happened is that it's like they think that sells. So they're trying to increase their popularity. They want to be in media. Rajnath Singh doesn't get much media. Jaishankar gets a lot of media. Amit Shah gets a lot of media. And then Modi is always there in the media. So I think Rajnath Singh is a bit jealous of these people. And so occasionally he will keep seeing something that he thinks is sexy and provocative. Like, we're going to take the Pak-occupied Kashmir next time. We will take Gilgit-Baltistan. And things like that. He makes all these pronouncements to get back into media, to let the world know that he's still alive and in charge of the Department of Defense. It's such an important issue, but he rarely gets any attention in India. I don't know why. This is a very good question. With your understanding of Iran, are they confident or overconfident? Is the preparedness they have done? So I was reading a former Iranian foreign person, I think it was a foreign minister, I think it was Javad Zarif, who actually wrote a piece. If I'm not mistaken, it's in the Foreign Affairs. I must have read it late at night and don't remember where, but he made this point that one of the reasons for this war is Iran's overconfidence. He said Iran was overconfident and has got punished because of that. Just check on it whether it was Javad Zarif, but or not. But he did make this point that Iran was overconfident. But I think that the fact that the Iranians have survived now for more than 5 weeks, and while they have not done much damage to the U.S. militarily, only one combat aircraft literally down in, well, two, you could say, if you count the A-10, in more than a month of fighting. India fought for less than 110 hours and lost 3 to 5 jets. So this is nearly 35 days, and they have lost only 2 in combat. So the U.S. has not suffered damage, but the manner in which Iran has been able to control Hormuz and put pressure on the Arab states and punish them. And while doing all of this, they are also enjoying a lot of support in the global south and many other parts of the world. So their strategic confidence has gone up, I think, and they're feeling more confident. I will be coming back and doing similar shows. So come back a few hours later, that is early morning India time, and there will be one more English and 2 more Hindi shows that I'm going to be doing today. I try to do 2 Hindi and 1 English. I need to do the English shows for my students and my colleagues. I also contribute to the public discussion in America, so I do need to do this. So, for example, if you go to my LinkedIn page, you will find all my English videos there. So, Endgame in Iran. I wrote an article, Gaming the Endgame. You should take a look at it. I will share the link here. Gaming the Endgame by Muqtada Khan. Let us see if it pops up. Oh, come on. I'm misspelling my own name. So I have shared that before, but you can take a look at it. Here it is. It is published in the Middle East Policy Council, and I'm sharing the link with you guys. All right. Too many questions, but thank you, everybody. Unfortunately, I have to go, but thank you for watching Conversations. Like this video, press the bell icon, and subscribe to the channel. Try and become a member, and stay tuned. Please, if you have subscribed, why don't you also? Thank you, Neeraj. Why don't you also try and become a member and press the bell icon, because I will be doing at least 3 more shows today, and 2 of them will be live. Take care. Bye.